Yeah. She's howling. There's an ambulance.
She's singing. Hey, it's Megan
And Sue.
the Spine Breakers, and today we're just gonna do like a fun little random video.
Yeah.
So I have this game. It's a therapy game. I used to use it with clients, and I used to use it in group sessions. It's called the Ungame. There's no winning. It's not actually really a game. It just has cards.
This is Ungame.
It's the Ungame. So it basically just has cards with questions on it, and they're conversation starters. And so you draw a card, you answer the question, and then other people can discuss it, or like you and your therapist can discuss it, or however you want to do it.
Okay.
So there's two different decks. There's a deep deck and a not so deep deck. So the number one deck is like the icebreaker deck, and number two is like the deep shit deck.
Right.
So we're gonna use deck number one, and we're just
posting this online
for the public to see. And so we're gonna do this. If you truly feel uncomfortable, we're gonna skip a card. So like if you get a card and you feel uncomfortable,
Right.
you can pass it.
Right.
We're not gonna make each other answer questions we're not comfortable answering.
Right.
So we just thought this would be kind of fun to do.
Yeah. And we don't really have a new beer. We have an Oktoberfest that we drank in our last video, and another Oktoberfest.
So
on deck.
it's called. Right. So we've got a beer on deck for when we're ready for it.
Right.
So
All right.
let's do it. All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna jump in. So you may ask a player one question or comment on any subject that you choose.
Oh.
So I can ask you any question I want to.
Okay.
So Susan,
Yes.
what is your favorite smell? Like what scent is your favorite scent?
Oh, I really love like woodsy smells. Like the smell of like a freshly chopped tree, which sounds kind of
like cedar, like a
sound-
nice
yeah,
cedar tree.
which sounds kind of like gruesome now that
Or
I say
pine.
it. But I don't know. I hauled a lot of wood as a child.
Is it kind of nostalgic?
And so I think it's nostalgic because I remember being out in the woods with my dad. And then it just smells so good. I
does
just
smell
love
good.
like cedar chips. I could just huff cedar chips.
Cedar
all day.
chips smell so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they smell fantastic.
Okay. Tell about a time you felt productive. So do I answer this one too, right?
Yes, you answer that one.
Okay, a time I felt productive. Lately, I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks, a lot more than normal.
Yeah.
And when I listen to audiobooks, and I think the part of the reason why is because I was listening to like romance, and I get really invested in romance quickly. And so I would want to keep listening to my audiobook instead of, usually it takes me a really long time to finish an audiobook. But while I'm listening, I also feel like I need to be doing something else.
You have to keep your hands
So
busy.
I've been like cleaning
Nice.
a lot and just like doing other random things around my house, taking my dog for a walk, things like that. So I've felt pretty productive lately.
Nice. Say something about space travel.
Oh.
Well, I feel like we should maybe invest some money in that because I think we're going to fuck up our planet and we're going to have to. And it makes me really sad that people think it is not necessary.
Yeah.
So I think space travel is fascinating and I think it's beautiful and I think we should invest in it.
Part of me is like, but what if we find another civilization and we ruin that civilization?
Yeah, because no, that would be, like, it wouldn't be like, what if that civilization fucked us up?
Right.
No. It would be like, we would fuck them up, for sure.
Right.
No, you're right.
Share a childhood memory about bedtime. Oh.
Totally a therapy game.
I don't know. I didn't really have a bedtime as a child. Like, we stayed up however late we were. I mean, during school, we were kind of like, needed to be in bed at a decent hour. But in the summertime, me and my sister would stay up till like 4 a.m. We would.
You are very much a night person, I think.
Yeah. And we would watch like old, because like after, midnight, TV gets weird.
Yeah.
And we just had the 5 channels network television. So we'd watch like old reruns of like 70s era Saturday Night Live. What was that show? The Commissioner? I don't know. It's the guy from The Shield.
I don't remember.
But his name was like the Commish in the show, whatever that show was. And the Highlander TV show.
That could only be one.
I've never seen the movie, but the TV show, which most people say is really bad, but yeah, so that's kind of my memory of bedtime, is just like not having one.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How do you think your father would describe you?
Oh, weird.
That's a weird question. I don't know. My dad's really demure. Like, my dad doesn't really say a whole lot. He's very quiet. So I think if someone was like, how would you describe your daughter? He'd be like, she's my kid. Like, I don't know that he'd have a lot to say. I am a lot like my dad, though, so he might say that. Like, he may say that we're very similar. Personality-wise, not necessarily, like, belief-wise, because he's much more conservative than I am. Mm-hmm. But personality-wise, we're both very, like, sarcastic, and we can both be kind of gregarious, but, like, we can also both be very quiet. So,
yeah.
I think, like, personality-wise, we're very similar, so he may say that. But I don't know, because my dad's very, like I said, he's super demure, so I don't know.
Right.
If you were like, hey, Craig, what's your daughter like? He'd be like, she's my kid.
Right.
So I don't know.
I may ask a player one question or comment on any subject I choose.
Oh, so much power. You have so much power. Are you drunk with power?
I'm drunk with how would you describe your aesthetic?
I don't know.
Either like how you dress or like decor wise, whatever.
How I dress would probably be like comfy, hippie goth. And my home would be like witchy IKEA.
Witchy, it's a horror store.
Yeah. Like, because it's very, my house is super open and it's very bright. Like, I don't like dark spaces. I like a lot of light. Mm-hmm. And so I like to have, a lot of like, bright colors to make the space light and a lot of like natural lighting.
Yeah, I would say your house is kind of like this sort of like boho style, I think is what they call it. It's like very bright and neutral tones and stuff, mixed with like mid-century, mixed with like witchy vibes.
Yeah, I have like, I think that's a really good way to describe it. Oh, how do you think your mother would describe you? Okay, so my mom is very different than my dad. So my dad is very demure. My mom is very like, she just puts it out there. My mom would be like, she's amazing. She's the best person ever. My mom is really good to have in your corner because even if you're terrible at something, my mom is like, I think you're brilliant. You're amazing. You're amazing. I love it. I love it. So my mom is definitely the person to have in your corner. So my mom would be like, she's genius. She's amazing. I love her. She's brilliant. Because that's my mom. And she's like that with my friends too. Like she's like that with you and with Corey. Yeah. Like my mom is definitely, once she's in your corner, she's your biggest cheerleader. So that's my mom.
Describe the greatest is in quotations, dessert in the world. Oh man. I don't know how to answer that.
There's a lot of good desserts.
I have a sweet tooth.
You do.
I love sweets. So, I mean, I feel like my greatest dessert would be, it's about taste and it's also about texture.
It's always about texture.
So, I feel like chocolate would be involved.
Of course.
And it would also be like either like creamy or like light and fluffy in some way.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I could like name that dessert,
Yeah.
You know what's a great dessert that's also like nostalgic is dirt dessert.
Oh, dirt dessert is so good.
Dirt dessert. And it's like, it's crunchy and creamy.
It's chocolatey.
So it is kind of one of the
it's kind of light and fluffy
desserts.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So dirt dessert, something similar to dirt dessert maybe, but like more.
Like a chocolate mousse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about your favorite sport and why you like it. I hate most sports, but I love hockey. And the part of the reason why I love hockey is because, number one, me and my dad used to watch hockey together when I was little, like little bitty. We have pictures of us like professionally taken photos, professional, at like Sears or whatever in our matching hockey jerseys, you know? And so part of it is that like nostalgia of watching hockey with my dad. And then also part of it is like hockey is such a cultural thing where I'm from. Like I'm from Michigan, so like Michigan is big hockey country. And so it's just like a cultural thing. And I love watching it. It's fast paced, so it doesn't lose my attention because I have ADHD and I'm very like squirrel. So it's super fast paced. I love that like I fully appreciate the sport because I think like a big misconception, especially with women, is that if you don't like a sport, you don't get it. I hate football. And I've had so many men be like, oh, well, let me explain it to you. I'm like, no, I get it. Like, I had brothers who played football. My family watched football. I know the rules. Like, I understand how the game works. I don't like it.
Right.
But with hockey, it's exciting to me. And it's fun to watch. And I feel like part of that is the nostalgia. Part of it is the cultural thing. But fuck, man, hockey's awesome.
I don't know if I've ever like sat down and watched hockey. We watched the Blues win the Stanley Cup, I think.
Yeah, because that's one of my criteria to be an honorary Northerner.
Yeah.
You have to accidentally say a Northernism, which you've done.
Have I?
Yes. You have to watch Fargo, and you have to watch hockey.
I've seen the movie Fargo. I haven't seen the shows.
No, I don't watch the show. The movie's Fargo. Yeah.
Describe your best year in school. Ooh. This is tough because mostly I hated. I didn't like hate school, but I wouldn't say it was like a good time in my life. I'm gonna say like sophomore year.
Okay, why sophomore year?
10th grade. My best friends were all still around because like one of my best friends after sophomore year left to go. Well, he went to go to some like academy where you could for smart kids or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like sophomore year was a pretty good year. I don't know. Like, I did not enjoy elementary school or middle school for the most part.
I hated school. You were painfully shy.
I was painfully shy in elementary school, definitely. And I had, like, very few friends. But I feel like I started to come out of my shell a little bit in high school, but I had, like, a strong group of friends, I think.
Okay.
In high school.
What color would you use to describe yourself and why? I always say green, and I don't know if it's because it's my favorite color or because like I can identify myself with green. I think green is the color of like it makes your brain work, but it's also relaxing. Like it's intellectually stimulating, but it's like emotionally relaxing, and that kind of describes me, I think, because I'm very like. My emotions are very like deep under the surface. But like green is also the color of growth. It's the color of nature. And like I fucking love being outside like with trees and like in nature. So I think green describes me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, if I was going to like say what color I thought your aura was or something.
Oh.
I'd say maybe like a dark, not dark, but I would say like an olive green.
Ooh, I
which
love
maybe
olive green.
Some people would be like, ew, olive green.
No, I love olive green.
It's
so pretty. Yeah, no, I love olive green. Love it.
Yeah. Oh, this is another Ask a Player One question.
Or comment.
What does that mean? I can just tell you something?
You can just say whatever you want. Like Donald Trump in a press conference.
Lord. Okay. I think my comment to you is that people like you and love you way more than I think you think they do.
Aww.
And that you're a very pleasant and likable person.
Aww. That's really nice. Ooh, talk about your favorite childhood game. I don't know that I had a favorite game. I know that I really loved playing cards with my grandma. So my mom's mom, my grandma Barb, she played cards with her friends all the time. And so we would always play cards when I would go over to her house. Like, she had all these games that she would teach us. And that was always really fun because I felt like I was a part of the adult group, you know? Mm-hmm. So, like, it would be, like, me and my grandma, like, my little brother, and, like, maybe my grandpa playing cards. But I felt like I was grown, you know? Right. So I was like, So I think not necessarily a card, like, a specific game, but just doing that with them was cool.
Complete the sentence. I wish all people would... So many things.
Oh, yeah.
I think the thing that I would wish the most is that all people would just be kind to one another and, like, mind their own fucking business when it comes to, like, how people want to live their lives. Mm-hmm. Just let people live their lives.
Yeah. That's a good one.
As long as they're not hurting other people, let them do what they want.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. Live and let live, man. Talk about your favorite TV show. I don't really have one. Some of my favorites in the past have been Supernatural. Mm-hmm. Because also, like, it's spooky content, but also, like...
Those boys are hot.
No. Yeah, they are. And then How I Met Your Mother, I really loved for a while. I fucking hated the end of that show, though. Like, the ending of that series was the worst ending in the entire world. And, like, all of the writers should just be slapped. Like, I want them...
giving.
Like, I want Marshall to slap them all. Like, please. Like, line up all the writers and then just have, like, what Jason, whatever his name is? Segel. Line up and just fucking bitch slap every single one of them.
Describe something you like to do that seems out of the ordinary.
Oh.
I don't really know. I don't know how to answer that question. I feel like most people are normal. Like, people think they're weird. They're not weird.
What's something people would be surprised then to know that you like to do?
Even then, I don't know, because I feel like I'm such an eclectic person that I don't really think people would be surprised by much. Maybe they would be surprised to know that, like, I hauled wood as a child, like I mentioned earlier.
That's true.
And I, like, grew up on sort of a farm. I mean, it wasn't like a, you know, super high-functioning farm, I guess. Like, we had some cows when I was a kid, and we had a garden. So I hauled wood, I hauled hay, you know.
Yeah, I think maybe, like, your rural...
I lived out in the country.
Yeah, I think maybe that would be
nowhere.
Just if someone were to look at you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they would.
But I don't know that I do anything super weird.
Okay, so ask a player a question or comment on any subject you choose. So I'm going to comment to you.
Okay.
You are kind of magnetic.
Oh.
Like, you have this, like, a light that radiates from you, and you're just very, you're beautiful inside and out. And I think that shows to anyone who meets you. And I wish I could just put it on a fucking billboard.
Aw, thank you.
You just radiate. You sparkle.
Tell about a special, again in quotation marks, gift you received when you were a child. I feel like I've talked about this before on the channel. I don't remember why. But I remember when I was a kid, and I hope I'm not misremembering this because I feel like I misremember things often, but
it's a hazard of memory.
When I was a child, and I got the chicken pox, and I got them kind of late. I got them I think I was in 2nd grade.
Okay.
When I got chicken pox. And I remember my grandma Bruffett. We called her Grandma Bruffett. We called her by her last name. I don't know why.
I called all my grandmas like that.
Really? We didn't do that for any of my other grandparents.
2 of my grandparents. 2 out of 3 I did.
But my Grandma Bruffett got me a balloon. It was a heart-shaped balloon because I think it was around Valentine's Day.
Aww.
And it had Mickey Mouse on it. And I remember, like, just treasuring that balloon. Aww. Because my Grandma Bruffett, like, she would get us...
You have talked about this on the channel, yeah.
But she would get us gifts at, like, Christmas time. She didn't get us each... She had a lot of grandkids. She had, like, 14 grandkids, at least. And so she wouldn't get us like birthday gifts, but at Christmas time she would usually get us all something, but it would be like all the girls got this thing and all the boys got this thing.
Like Grandma Nash.
You know,
like
so
that.
it wasn't like a personalized
right.
gift. And so I just remember feeling like so special that Grandma Buffett had gotten me a balloon.
Aww.
And so I kept, it might still be at my parents' house somewhere like folded up because I remember that I kept it. Like
that's really sweet.
When it deflated, I like folded it up and put it in like a shoebox or something and kept it. Yeah,
that's
so it was really special.
Aww. No profit. How do you decide between right and wrong? Well, that's like a really broad question.
It is.
I think like part of it is kind of my gut. Like, do I feel bad? Like, do I feel positive or negative when I'm doing something? And I think part of it too is how would I feel if someone I admired saw me doing this? So like one example is like, how would I feel if my little brother saw me doing this? Because my little brother is like my baby heart. He's my heart. I love him. So like, how would I feel if Poopy saw me doing this? Part of it is, how would I feel if someone did this to me? Is this, I don't know, like it's hard to explain. Like, is this something that I would want done? Like, is this like something I'm okay with? Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's a lot of like feeling. Everything I've said so far, I feel like I've said I feel.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of it is like kind of in your gut. Like, if you do this thing, how is that going to make you feel? And like, how would you feel if someone you cared about saw you do it? And like, so yeah.
So I think like society also kind of dictates
absolutely
right and wrong.
You know, absolutely. And I think that there are some things that I don't feel are wrong that society might feel like are wrong. But yeah, I think like what's the effect on other people? What's the effect on society? What's the effect on myself? But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of factors I think to consider in there.
Yeah. Oh, it's another ask a player a question or comment on any subject you choose. If you could move anywhere outside of Springfield, where would you move?
Norway.
Norway. Because they're more like progressive. And,
yeah. I want to live somewhere like progressive. Also, it's gorgeous there. But yeah, I think the progressiveness and the beautifulness.
Yeah. I think Celia lives in Norway, right? Also the black metal.
The black metal. The fucking church burning shit. Yeah, that's what I'm there for.
I think we're going to end here because my battery's dying and I didn't bring my charger.
If you want to see more of this, let us know. If you want to see us do the deep deck, let us know.
Let us know.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.